things. And then another language practice is this kind of thing which we call conceptual tagging or conceptual squatting, which is the reclaiming. Again, these are the promise of the peace dividend in the Clinton years, again, was going to be the return of these military sites to public land. And it's almost as if, rather than waiting for that to happen, is to actually grab the land in whatever way possible, find new uses of it. And so a lot of that time it's done simply by reframing the landscape. Here you see the Genetic Reclamation Area. Here you see the Mattaquart Park. Those of you familiar with Mattaquart's Odd Lots project, it's kind of, again, a conceptual squatting. It's turning this odd parking lot into a potential place for public use. Here you see, this is the Robert Smithson Memorial Site, CITE, with one of our barge agents we inserted a number of tuning rods into the ground to sort of pull out the vibrations, the sort of historical and ground-based sort of seismic shocks in order to sort of score the ground in order to produce sound. And actually, we learned that we had to write pirate songs, again in the future anterior, pirate songs that will have to have been written in order to tell the story of the battles that are yet to come. I won't sing one, but they're available online. So our barge agents, again, almost as if ghosts from the futures, we had to, again, invent these new methodologies. Instead of sort of being like, let's map, do a toxic tour, map here where you can sort of read as if you decipherable map, because that's not the experience. That's not the experience of being there, or interpreting these different kinds of invisible sites. So we created a series of what we call pre-enactments. Again, they're enactments of things that the ghosts of the future will have had to have learned these new tactics in order to deal with the site, in order to repossess or remediate the site itself. So you'll see here, there's a number of research-based projects in these pre-enactments, again, using a performative element and a sort of re-narrativizing of the way the stories we tell and the kinds of practices we think of as mapping or cartography, which of course is a form of writing. And again, using the body, because it was very clear that certain kinds of site-based artistic practices and psychogeographic practices often go to a site, take the art, and leave. And here, as we would leave with runny eyes, congestion, different kinds of what I call the telltale itch. These kinds of paranoid embodied responses, so we felt it was inherent to the responsibility of the artistic practice to actually directly engage the sites, especially these places that are sort of the leftover. Here you see what we call a hauntology of a post-oil future, these sort of empty barrels. There's no longer a gas station out there, but there is, of course, in the ground, the residue of our oil industry. Here is doing a soil sample. This is Halliburton Court, which is, you see here in the distance, the houses, the families living in the house with the light on, and that green fence somehow marks, if you, on this side of the fence, it's absolutely, you can't live there, it's poison. You have PCB levels 10,000 times the acceptable level, but if you're on the other side of the fence, you're completely fine. So here we're taking soil samples for remediation. Here you see the remediation seed beds, if you're familiar with Mel Chin's work. So again, using the tuning forks to literally draw the buried histories and the toxins back into the body, almost to make the body as a singing instrument, as a prosodic body, but also as a kind of mediation, a form of mediation to recreate or to attempt to experiment or pre-enact what kinds of bodies will be necessary to inhabit these futures, these toxic futures. What kinds of lungs, right? Here is then in Yerba Buena, there was a sort of non-site of the soil sample, which you see there are actually things growing in it. That's now living in my backyard for better or worse, and other kinds of found elements of attempting to sort of bridge this back and forth. And then on the island itself, it's sort of a reversal. We have a non-site of Yerba Buena, so there's materials I sort of borrowed or found materials from Yerba Buena, attempting to sort of take the formal art environment. Yeah, we got my, all right, we're at 2 minutes. So I'm just going to whip through then, doing an actual live tour. You'll see here, we tag different aspects of the environment, these sort of paintings here that you get. And then the barge agents during the tour were around the island doing various activities. This was actually during Fleet Week. This is polishing the petro monuments again in the future. These will be these wonderful shrines or sort of perverse icons, sculptures, Greek statues, if you will, of a civilization that the future will have to make new sense of. Filtering the soil, again, tuning for soil, and here we run it around. And we'll end here with the counter postcards using the line that had been run through, the agents have been working through the groundwater, use that in order to frame. You see that in the left side, you see the visitors who are watching. You see the very upper left, you see one of the planes from Fleet Week. Here instead, we're attempting to reframe the view away from where the eye wants to, the touristic eye, the postcard eye is trained to go. And to reframe that eye to different kinds of comic postcards. And of course, those frames collapse. Anytime the military presence flies over, the ghosts of the future are unable to stand and collapse. So we again, the touristic practice was an attempt to not just merely map or sort of walk around and point, this was there, this is here, this is there, but to play with a sense of what kinds of futures will have had to have been created, what kinds of choreographies, prosody, and methodologies will have to invent themselves in order to make sense of these landscapes. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.